Go for it.
Well, listen, we have some audio tape of the CEO speaking. You provided that audio tape.
Sure.
So why don't you set this up for us?
Sure.
Tell us what this audio tape is.
This is the CEO and Chairman Peter Darby at the annual stockholder conference. I actually got this off of a link from John Giesman, who was a former energy commissioner. And at the stockholder conference, one of the investors asked him, well, why are we spending all this money on this proposition? And his response was basically that
Well,
let's hear his response. Yeah. Go ahead and roll that, Steve.
The idea was to diminish, rather than year after year, different communities coming in or this or that and putting this up for vote. We thought that this was a way that we could sort of diminish that level unless there was a very strong, mandate from voters that this is what they wanted to do. So it was really a decision about could we greatly diminish this kind of activity. There's going to be some flap. It'll take place between now and June. And then presumably, we'll mend any broken fences after that.
Well, his favorite word seems to be diminish.
That's right.
So how do you interpret what he said there?
Well, what he talked about before that was the legal battle between PG&E and SMUD, the Sacramento Municipal Utility District. Davis County and Yolo County wanted to essentially drop PG&E and become part of SMUD, and PG&E fought them and spent $10–15 million in that court battle. And I think what Peter Darby is saying is we want to diminish anybody's ability to leave PG&E. And we don't want to spend, $15 million every time that happens. So let's spend $30 million, change the California Constitution, and we're done with it, which makes business sense. I just, I'm actually most upset by the mendacity of the language. The deception is. It shouldn't be called taxpayers' right to vote.
I'm surprised they allowed it to be called that.
It's obscene. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's. I hope everybody thinks long and hard about that one before they do not allow a television commercial to sway your vote, ladies and gentlemen. Find out what it's really about. Yeah. I know PG&E is spending how much?
35 million. 35 million. I heard. Yeah.
The opponents are spending 30,000.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. So it's 1,000 times more money. So if money wins, that'll pass.
Yeah, and it's crafted very well. Like, who doesn't think a taxpayer should have a right to vote?
Yeah.
I mean, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, we're kind of beating up on PG&E. So I do want to be fair. Like, the people that I've worked with from PG&E have been really cool. And it's unfortunate that the people and the policies don't exactly match. The policies of that company are such
well,
that...
there's a difference between the person that shows up to look at your trees and your block than the people upstairs making the decisions. Yeah,
that's right.
There's a disconnect.
And that's, that's I wanted to clarify, because we did ultimately work with PG&E, and they did ultimately agree to meet with us, the city of Pacifica, and I'm really hopeful that we'll get somewhere, but it was, it took some back and forth.
Yeah. So let's go over what our options are. Now, we discussed moving the wires.
Yes.
What about raising the poles? I know that the poles could be higher than they are now.
That's
true.
true.
That would buy time.
That's technically a possibility. The only problem is that we already have 60-foot utility poles. They can raise them 10 more feet, and that should be good actually, because the palm trees typically grow to 55 to 60 feet. So that would give us about 10 feet of clearance, which is what you're legally required. However, the fronds can still get blown up in the wind, and those fronds are almost 20 feet long.
They flop around. They're long.
And the other problem with having a 70-foot utility line is that the normal bucket trucks that PG&E uses, they only go up to 60, 65 feet. So that means that every time we have an outage, and we have many of them because of the winter storms and everything, we would have longer recovery times.
Because they have to send in the big trucks.
They'd have to send in the big trucks, and they only have a few of those, and we'd be waiting longer. So taller utility lines is not really a great option. The real option really is to bury the lines.
Okay.
Underground the wires. But it's not quick. It takes years, and some of these trees don't have that much time. So for some of the trees, as a short term, I'd like to move the utility lines
Right.
I mean, move the poles.
Move the poles. So that's the $45,000 thing you're talking about.
Yeah, that was just for a couple trees.
Right, but would that buy enough time to underground stuff?
Sure.
If we did that, so get the 40 grand together.
That's what I'm hoping. I mean,
and you've already raised 10 grand, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm hoping is we'll meet with this committee, we'll come up with that, and I'm actually really hoping that we can spend the $10,000 not to necessarily move the poles, but to help us get real grant money to get the lines underground. And I'm really hoping PG&E will say, okay, really, you know what, we screwed up here. Let's move these lines.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, I think it's a great battle that you're fighting, and I love seeing individual citizens just, you know, you're not a politician, you don't have any position. I mean, you're part of the Vallemar conservators, but
we're just planting trees.
It is tree planting, yeah, a tree planting group.
Right.
But I just think that's really great to just go out there and try to make a change like that. But you know, I have my own personal beef with palm trees. I got to mention that I had 4 years ago. I had a palm tree, one of those sharp spikes from them embedded in my hand, and I finally had to have it surgically removed, and I still can't quite play guitar right. So part of me. There's no love lost between me and palm trees.
Yeah, I mean,
but I can appreciate them, though.
Yeah. Well, some people have argued they're not native, they should go.
There's that factor, too, yeah.
I mean, but yeah, there's many things that aren't native. I mean, none of us were native here, so should we all leave? I mean,
very few of the trees that are planted here are native.
That's true.
In fact, we prefer getting trees from somewhere else because there's no diseases and pests that attack them. We like Australian trees around these parts for the most part.
Yeah.
About, I think, like 3/4 of the trees planted in this area are from Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Good tree night. Okay, so so the next step is going to be you're going to have the meeting with the city and with that. And when is that meeting going to take place? I'm
not sure when the meeting is taking place, but Sue Degree just sent out a letter this week naming the residents and the members of PB&R. It's going to be Richard Zoromsky and August Murphy from PB&R, who are going to be on the commission, as well as probably somebody from City Council.
Has anyone in the City Council been actively working with you on this, or from the city?
Well, I've spoken with Julie Lancel and Steve Rhodes, the city manager, and City Council Julie Lancel. And I know that PG&E has contacted all the members of City Council.
But what have you gotten from? What is it, Julie Lancel and Steve Rhodes? Have they been supportive of your position, or have they tried to help you?
I think they're very sympathetic, but they're saying, look, let's talk to PG&E and let's figure out how we can sort of get to the bottom of it. So.
Well, they have a lot of battles they're fighting right now.
The city has lots of problems. You know, I mean, this is hardly the biggest of the problems. So.
Yeah, and that's why though it takes individuals doing this. We can't count on the city to solve our problems for us. The individuals have to work ourselves.
And actually, originally, I was going to take this on full force, but I found out as I looked at my deed, these are city trees. So they're on city property.
They're city property, so it's really the city's trees.
It is the city's trees.
Ah, yeah.
But the residents don't want it gone, so.
It complicates things, huh?
That's right.
But I guess the main thing that you've done is you've put together this website.
That's right.
Right? What is it again?
It's called VallemarPalms.com. Pretty simple. It's just a blog, but as things happen, I post it on there. You know, when we got our, I was talking to lots of different people at PG&E, and at some point they basically said, okay, we need you to stop talking to us. Everybody goes to this one person. So I said, everybody goes to the one person. I put that on the website.
The emails, PG&E.
Yeah, most of the emails that I've actually sent to PG&E, I've also posted on the website. They're, you know, they're pretty straightforward. And then the letter from PG&E saying they're removing it, I posted that as well.
Okay.
So
well, let's
just trying to keep everybody informed.
Al, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and I really wish luck to you and your trees. I want to also mention to people that this Saturday, May 23rd, at 10 a.m., we're going to have Save the Whales event with Leland Yee and Dave Crimmen, so check it out. And also, props out to Luigi's Pizza. Thanks. Good night.